Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that was forwarded to me by one of our admins, and the message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? This story of mine, I have posted it before on this other group there on Facebook, and my story, Brother Nashi, it still confuses me even up until today. One day, Brother Nashi, after this other guy that I was dating took me out, the next thing that happened is that I woke up and I was sleeping on a grave. Please post my story, and I need help. I don't know if I am losing my mind or what is going on. I am a closer lady and I came to Joburg. This was last year. The bright city life that we have always heard about. Finally, I got to experience it. Unfortunately, as I arrived in Joburg, I then found out that my friend who had invited me to Joburg, she was not working at all. She was actually selling off her body. So I thought that maybe I could survive without selling my body as well. But with time, Brother Nashi, I saw that there was no way that I was going to survive without the help of another man here in Joburg. With the experience that I had as a paramedic, I had tried to apply all over the place, but I had failed to do so. I lost my job. This was during the COVID-19, and after the COVID-19, then our company, it was scaling down, so I could not work there anymore. I struggled a lot, Brother Nashi, trying to find work, but my friend then suggested that since she was working, if I could come there, I would chill at her place until I had found a job. But this was not the case. She was not working. She was actually selling off her body on the street at night. And on the profile pictures, you could actually think that she is a classy woman who was a professional. Never believe to what people post on social media, because they will just confuse you and you will never know what actually gives them money. So when I arrived here in Joburg, at night she would then get out of the house, then she would go out selling off her body. So each and every time I was always alone at her place. When I started staying with her, the first week, she was fine and she was like, no, don't worry, until you find a job, just rest here. I can do what I am doing and you can just rest here. But with time, I then started seeing that she was always moody. What she would do is that when she would open up the fridge, and if she would see that maybe I would have drank something from the fridge or eat her yogurt, then she would start complaining, and she would say that when she was still alone, she was able to make a budget, and she would know that this budget that she would have done, it would last her for the whole month. And I knew what she meant. I had to make a plan so that I could find a job. I tried, Brother Nashi, until the money that I had, the one that I wanted to use for the transport, it ran out, because all the guys that I would meet, the ones that would promise me a job, they will say that, what are you going to give me if you start working at the company where I am working? And these guys, all of them, they wanted me to sleep with them before I could get a job. And this thing, it is all over the place. You can't get a proper job without sleeping with someone in the company. So I refused. And if I would refuse, and if I would tell my friend that this is what I have been told at the place where I would have gone to drop the CV, then my friend will say that, why did you refuse? Why did you reject that offer? Because why didn't you sleep with that guy? Because it is just a one-day thing and you are not going to leave. Then my friend will say that, why did you refuse that offer? Because you are not going to lose anything. Are you going to lose your cookie if you just sleep with him only once? But this was out of my dignity. But doing this, it was because of my dignity. I didn't want to lose my dignity, whereby I sleep with a man simply because I want to get a job offer. But with time, Brother Nashi, when she started complaining about the rent, saying that the landlord was telling telling her that what I was doing, it was squatting, so she needed to pay more money, and I started joining her. The way that I joined her, I didn't like join her like on the street. There was another guy on that same apartment who was always confusing me, telling me that he wanted to date me, but this guy, he was a married guy. So the day that I agreed and I said, so what is the plan? You are married and you say that you want me. He then said that you would be giving me money like on a monthly basis, and he will be sleeping with me whenever you would feel like he wants to sleep with me. This was like more like your girlfriend allowances. And he said that even if you want to date another guy, I do not mind, because I really love you and I cannot provide for you for each and everything that you want. So that guy, he had given me the go ahead like to date any other guy, since he was also married, and the money that he was giving me as a girlfriend allowance, it was never enough. I then started dating some guys that were just staying in that same neighborhood, but I was only dating them simply for the money. What would happen is that when a guy would approach me, and when the guy would say, please, can you give me your numbers? Then once we will be talking, when the guy will say that I want to take you out, then I would give him the conditions that he can only start dating me if he was going to give me girlfriend allowances. So I was now dating 5 guys at the same time, and all of them, they knew that I had another partner, but they never knew that I was having several partners at the same time. So with this thing that was happening, I saw that the money that I was making out of dating this guy, it was much more than the one that I was getting when I was working. I was now even able like to send my mom some money so that she can take care of my daughter whom I had left back home. Then, Brother Nashi, whilst I was dating these guys, there was another guy who took me out. We then went out, and whilst we were at that party, there was another guy. He seemed to be very rich. This guy, he kept on eyeing me a lot. So I then started doing the same thing that I used to do with the other guys that I used to date, like to seduce a man without showing the other people that you are actually seducing the guy. I then approached the guy and I pretended as if I was just having a casual chat, and that guy, he was straight to the point. He said that he wanted to sleep with me. I said, like now, like today or another day. He said, like, no, I want to sleep with you and I can give you 8,000. I said, 8,000, Joe, why so much money only for one round? And he said that I deserve more than that. I was really happy because no man had ever given me such a huge amount of money. He then asked me where we were supposed to do this thing. I said, I do not know, because I am staying with my friend, and I knew that my friend, she was booked for the night. She could not have space for me to bring in another man, since she was entertaining one of her clients who had recently gotten paid, so they were just spending the money there. So I said, can't we go to your place? The guy then said that no, we cannot go to my place, because it seemed as if he was also staying with another partner, but he said that he was not married. She was just a regular partner. And he said, is it fine if we do it in the car for 8,000K? I said, fine, let us go and do it in the car. I do not care. Then we went into his car. I actually sneaked out of the party. He was the first who went outside because he wanted to show me where his car was parked at. He said that once you have gotten out of that club where we were partying at, then I am just going to press the alarm button so that you can see the car. I then waited for him to get outside, and I told my boyfriend that I was going to the loo. I wanted to use the bathroom, and he said, okay. I went to the bathroom, but I didn't return back into the nightclub. I went outside and I looked around, and when that guy saw me, he then just pressed the alarm key on his car keys, and I saw that the car that was flashing, it was just close to me. I went in there and I then got into the car. It was a Jeep car, and he then started driving, and he was looking for a space to park. We then went to this other parking area, but once we had parked, when we were kissing each other, there was another car that came. I think that it was an Uber car. It came and it parked close to the place where we were parking. So he started driving and driving until we had approached reached this other bushy area, and he said, okay, let us just park here and we can quickly do it. This was like out of town. I was scared, and I said that, are we not going to get robbed? And he said, no one can ever dare rob me. Even if I leave this car, no one is ever going to touch it. But I didn't believe it. We started romancing each other, and finally we slept with each other. Brother Nashi, after we had slept with each other, he said, let us do it again. The moment that he touched me, I then blacked out. But this guy, he kept on driving. You know, like even if you black out, you can actually hear some of the things. That is what was happening. I was just hearing that the whole world was like turning around and vibrating. Therefore, I knew that I was still in his car, and this guy, he was driving with me. He was driving all over the place. So this is how I knew that he was driving. Then, Brother Nashi, when I woke up, I then found out that I was sleeping on top of a grave. I woke up, this was somewhere around 5 a.m. It was not yet like totally bright. It was a little bit dark, but you could actually see what was going on. The first thing that I noticed is that I saw in front of me like there was a tombstone. So I thought that maybe I was dreaming. But when I got off from where I was sleeping, and I saw that I was not lying on my bed, neither was I lying on top of a rock or anything, but I was actually sleeping on top of a grave. This shocked me a lot. And when I tried waking up, I then saw that this man had actually chained me with a rope to the tombstone. He had only tied one of my hand to this tombstone. So I started untying myself as I was crying. I cried out so loud, Brother Nashi. And when I finally untied myself, I then ran out of that graveyard, and the taxis were already moving. The next taxi that I got into, to my surprise, this taxi, Brother Nashi, it was a long distance taxi. That is how I knew that this man, he had taken me to a very far off place. I am even afraid to mention the places because I don't know if this guy, if he is listening or what, but all that I know is that this man, I do not know what he did to me. And the only thing that I know is that he promised me that he was going to give me 8K. And when I woke up, I saw that in my small handbag, there was 16K and a note that was left in my small purse. It was written, "Thank you for everything. I will never forget you. I will never forget what you have done for me." So I am scared what it meant when he said that, "Thank you for everything. I will never forget everything that you did for me." Since last year when this thing happened, I am always scared. Right now I am working as a paramedic, but sometimes I get so scared, Brother Nashi, when I think of the things that happened to me. It is a few ladies that can tell this kind of a story that I am sharing with you. Like, you get hooked up with a guy, then when you wake up the next morning, you'll be sleeping on top of a grave and you'll be having 16K in your small purse. Please post my own story. Maybe there is someone else who also went through this process that I went through. If you have any relative that had this thing happen to her, please just tell me, did she die or is she still alive? Because I am afraid of death. I do not want to lose my life, because if I lose my life, then my daughter and my mom, they are going to suffer, because I am like their only source of money. I am the one who keeps them alive. Please post my own story. I am scared even to mention the place where I am staying right now. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was forwarded to me by one of our admins. Indeed, strange things do happen. Has it ever happened to anyone that you know that they get hooked up, then when they wake up in the morning, then they will find out that they are sleeping on top of a grave? Strange things do happen in this world.